Alright, guys. On my little walk home before I go to sleep. Rest my head. Well, not really rest my head, but just rest. Alright. I was thinking. And you know, when I get to thinking, I wasn't really thinking. I was listening. And what I heard and what I observed and what I understood very quickly is that the first word that came to me said, the brighter the light, the thicker your shadow. So then I was thinking, okay, the brighter your light, the thicker your shadow. Then I thought about it, and I started to see the universal applications. When I say universal, I mean universal, like outside of Earth. And I mean like on a grand scale, like celestial. That's how I apply energy. Space is what you call space is where I go and do my thought experiments, where I get my understanding from. So when it comes time to apply things, I go through the vacuum of space like a hyperbaric chamber, and I apply the materials of the orders or the observation to see how it applies in a unpolluted or uncontagious, contaminated environment. So what I found out was how we have stars, right? And they're like light, okay, burning bright. And then you have like black holes. So then I started to realize the brighter the light, the darker, the thicker the shadow. So I began to think, oh, here's how it went. I kind of saw it more than I thought, so I'll describe what I saw. What I saw was how when the light shines, my shadow, if the brighter the light, the thicker and more defined my shadow becomes. Defined. High definition. Okay? So then I began to see how the shadow is cold. It's a cold plane or space inside of light, right? It's cooler in the shadow, 3 degrees cooler in the shadow than it is in the shade than it is in the sun. Okay, so I said it's cooler, right? So it has an effect. It's there, right? So then I said, okay. Now I saw how with that coolness, I said, okay, well, the light on the other side makes the shadow, makes my shadow cool on the opposite side of the light. So then I said, okay. Then I thought about it. I said, well, it's a 2-dimension. The shadow is 2-dimensional. It's like on a piece of paper, like writing on a paper, but it's moving with me. It's the living, like as if words are typed on a shadow, a character, it could be a word. I am a character on written on the ground with the light, by the light. So therefore, my shadow is like a living word of mine, or the living word, not just mine. Every shadow is a living word. So then I began to see how I said, okay, well, I looked at Antarctica. I looked at the angel, the archangel that that creates or makes up Antarctica and the rest of the world continents, minus Africa and North America. But it's not, but it is also making up that too. So what I realized was, I said, okay, the angel is light, it's a star. Then its shadow, it could be cold, right? Like it depends, right? So, because it's a plumed serpent. A plume is a shadow, and it's a three-dimensional shadow, not a 2D. It's not on a piece of paper, okay? So it has like two shadows, a shadow above and a shadow below it, this serpent, okay? So I thought about it, I said, okay. Well, I didn't say that, but just now that just hit me. But then, so the plume on the serpent can cool the serpent also, cause a shadow that can cool it. So maybe that's the double of, so double shadow could be double cold, double cooling effect. So thought about it, I was like, okay, you got your shadow, and then you have your angel, and then you have you got to look at it the way that I look at it when I say, okay, the angel has its shadow, but the sun creates its shadow because it's not as bright as the sun. It's got a star on the inside. Oh, so that's another thing. It's another thing. It's got a star on the inside of it, like a dragon heart. It's hard as its star. It's fire, right? It's fuel. So the inside light can create a shadow on the outside plane or dimensions. So that's another thing. And that's how I was looking. I was like, how is Antarctica doing that? So it's like, why is it cold in the poles? So it's the light on the inside of the angel. It has to be. It has one eye open light to amplify it. And the side that the eye is open on, the left side, the land is thawed out, and the other side, the land is frozen, at least on top. So now I'm thinking about it. Let's go over to the celestial bodies, because it is a celestial body, if you want to call it that. The dragon is a celestial body, and so is the behemoth. That's why they're in the stars. So, or they're represented in the stars, but they are the representation of the stars in physical form, flesh, low density, or high density but low frequency. Okay, so yeah. Now, a black hole. So here's the point. I was missing a part. So I explained how the light with the shadow works, right? Makes a cold shadow. So I said, if I was see-through, like crystal, I would create fire on the ground. I would amplify, the light would magnify through me, and I wouldn't have a shadow on the ground. I would create fire on the ground, like a ray of fire, and I would leave a trail of fire on the ground, okay, under the sun, all right? And that made me think about the earth. I applied it in applications to what we've seen on the earth. Okay, some fires mysteriously just pop up out of nowhere, it seems like. And I know what that is now. I know that it's a celestial body above us And between, like, just like how a rainbow forms on the other side of you and the sun, then fire from a celestial body that is high frequency to where it is see-through, crystal, low density, high density, high density plus high frequency, creating a crystal where light passes through and is amplified or magnified, or I shouldn't say magnified, it could be concentrated, gracefully centralized. That's what concentrated means. Its most graceful center, concentrated. The graceful center, the center of grace. The center of its grace. That's what concentrated means. I have the understanding of the spirit of that word. Now, it is the center of the grace that's concentrated. The center of grace, concentrated. The point of grace. The point, the center, either way it goes. It's because centrated is the center, is the point, and con is the grace. So the point of grace, the center of grace. Okay? So therefore, my gracefulness, if it was see-through, like crystal, then lo and behold, I would create fire. I wouldn't create fire. I would translate fire. Because like I said, on the ground, if I would, in this form, in the flesh form, I create a shadow which is cooler. Okay? And I said that it's on the two-dimensional plane. And that two-dimensional plane, it is written by the word above. I am translated on the ground in 2 dimensions, in a 2-dimensional plane. My 3 dimensions is translated into a 2-dimension by a high frequency celestial body, the sun. Okay. And very low density celestial body, the sun. So the fire would be translated through the concentrated, it would be concentrated translation. A concentrated translation. Because if you look at it, think of it like this. The opposite of the fire would be my fleshly form. And I said, the brighter the light on the other side creates a more concentrated, more defined definition, higher definition translation of my form. Okay. So therefore, it could be more concentrated. Also, it's a more concentrated. All right. So I create a higher definition of the sun, the light of the sun, if I'm made of crystal and the sun light is translated through my concentrated crystal. A crystal is concentrated at the center. At the center begins the translation. The translation doesn't start into the center. Once the light from the other side hits the core, then the core translates through the rest of the crystal outward. and therefore it could be concentrated through the core, and it's concentrated onto a two-dimensional space on the ground, and it will be a high definition. There will be like a laser beam, which is high definition, concentrated. You see? Okay. Now, this is what we're called to be. Okay? Binding and loosening. What do you think loosens and what do you think binds? Well, we know that the shadow would definitely bind by creating a cooler temperature, causing cooler causing to compress, concentrate into a higher density form, which is a lower frequency. And we know that if I were made of crystal, then it would be translated and concentrated into a two-dimensional form onto the ground, or into the two-dimensional plane. So what is so the spiritual, I guess, would be like a four-dimensional. I can't even say that. I'm not sure. But the spiritual is another dimension. It's a non-physical dimension. There's solid vapor, there's solid liquid vapor, gas vapor, and light. Solid, liquid, gas, vapor, light. I guess gas is vapor, so we can take that out. We can combine those two. Because you could say a vaporous gas. Okay? Because gas could be crystalline, like Valvoline. It could be fluid. Okay, so you have four dimensions there. Solid, liquid, because liquid could be crystalline. Gas could be fluid crystalline, but it's invisible almost. It's barely even there. It's like air. You don't see it, but you can feel it, and you can see the effects of it, and the concentration of the strength of it. Because it consumes things like fire. Wind consumes like fire. Wind makes fire even better, feeds fire. Wind consumes and feeds fire, like a bird feeds a baby. Okay, so that's four corners, four dimensions. It's a solid, a liquid, a gas, and light. A fifth dimension would be shadow. But it takes light to show the shadow. So I guess now we have, but that shadow is not a primary. That's why. And that's how you have gods and titans. There are hybrids. Shadow needs the opposite of light combined in order to create itself. In order to be created. My bad, it doesn't create itself. In order to exist. Light would be at the beginning of existence then. Because light is happening. It's a happening. Remember, it's high frequency. Frequency shows happening. It's like discharges. Frequency. Things like if I clap my hand, it's frequency. And it creates a illusion in a visible. Physical becomes blurred and all that stuff, and you start to see different dimensions open up. Portals. A portal is like a shadow of light. But it's not. It's a shadow. It's not a shadow. It's a two-dimensional. A portal. Yes, okay. It takes two to tango a portal because it has it has two ends. So I'm trying to get to the black hole because I know that there's something in between a black hole and the light. And it could be wind. It could be a gas. It could be a celestial body that is invisible, but not. It's like things are invisible until you concentrate them. Once it's concentrated, remember, what does it do? It translates. And what does translation do? So that you can understand, you can see, understanding, seeing, translation, the shadow, understanding, you, under, you, standing, okay. The darkness did not understand the light within. The light that was in man. There would be no darkness if you have light inside of you. You would translate light. That's we see this. We understand this. Because even if you don't understand it with your cognitive, you still translate it, and translation is understanding, and that's the undeniable understanding. It's the evidence that you do not understand. It is not the lack of. It is not that there is no evidence. The evidence understands you, but you do not understand it. Like the shadow stands under you, but you do not understand it. This is interesting. So, Yeshaya being the word, he is the translation. He is the translation of Yah. Hayashara Haya. Yeshaya is the translation. So the salvation is the translation. What is saved after something does not appear? What replaces it? So the light, my physical body, the light does not pass through it with my physical eye. I can't see that. I see a shadow on the ground translated. So therefore, the translation of the light is the light is not translated. I am translated. So the replacement of the light translation is me, causing a spectacle, a spot in the light. Okay. And on my inspection of this, I see the salvation of my form by the light is cast to the ground as a shadow. My salvation is cast down because I'm low frequency, high density. Now, becoming pure, where light translates to your core. See, the outside, the light does not translate to my core because there's a film, there's matter, there's more density. It only creates more darkness to the core. All right? And then that darkness translates outwardly towards the ground, or the opposite side of the light. It doesn't have to be the ground. It is cast away from the light and translated. Now, the light, should it pass through, would be translated and saved through me. If I don't save it, it saves my form. But if I become closer to the light, which will be less dense, more like a crystal, more pure, less impurities, more like water, like Bruce was saying. Be like water, my friend. What is water? It is translucent. It is translucent. It translates the light. Lucifer is not the light. He's the false light. He is the light bearer. The light bearing in his core translates and concentrates in a higher definition on a lower plane in 2 dimensions, causing fire. He is a sword. The angels are swords, and so are their children, just like their father. Okay, they are weapons, not to be taken lightly. The celestial bodies. Is the sun not a weapon? If a trumpet of wind blew from the heavens, would you not be afraid, as if a weapon were threatening your life? So there's another dimension. Sound is light, but the translation of the word concentrated through the spirit creates a portal that we call light. So imagine traveling through a wormhole. It's a portal. But remember Star Trek when they go warp speed, or Stargate when they go through the portal, it looks the same. They're traveling on light, fluidly. The spectacles of light pass by so fast, high frequency, it becomes a fluid portal of light that you're traveling through. You're moving so fast you don't even see the darkness. And that's what I tried to translate to you guys about what I was taught about where we stand in this world as far as existence to heaven, and what stands between us and heaven is a portal of angels. And when they are given orders, they will move so fast that there will be no darkness. None. Not even, it will not even translate through you. You will not be translated. You will be transported. And your shadow, it does not exist during that time because you are surrounded. There is no place for the shadow to rest. That's how fast these angels move. You think the sun moves slow. Okay. And you think time moves slow. Okay. Well, how I got here, I was grabbed by all of the angels in heaven, and I was placed in my bed. And the first thing that I did with my first breath was ask for forgiveness and pray. And I didn't even know to who. I didn't even know to. That was the only thing. I was like, I don't even know who to say, because that's how I was corrected. I was taught by this world to say one thing, but when I went to the spiritual world and saw this world from there, I was brought back here with a message that what we were taught is not the truth, and I needed to seek it, or else I would have been so complacent. You would have never ever known me. You would never known me. You would never ever knew me. Never, ever. Never. You'd never have heard my voice. You would never. I'd probably be dead. Because you want to know what? I was guaranteed to see that in a moment where death said make a choice. And two angels, a past and a future angel, messenger, spoke to me. And I could hear each of them. I don't know if they heard each other, but they knew of each other very much. They knew of each other as if they were one, but they couldn't be more different. They were like the light and the shadow, the beginning and the end. And they translated to me, inspected me. They told me to look in. Both of them said, inspect yourself. We didn't come this far to do this the way that you were taught this is going to end up. I was taught that by everybody in the world today that you should die in these situations. Easy. There's no, you should just kiss your ass goodbye, period. But just those two messengers, the first one was the youngest, obviously perfect order, came and said, hey, we didn't come this far to die. So You need to take what you know. It's not what I was taught. It's what I knew that there was an option. I knew. So the option was just to believe. Opposite. Just believe. But I had a voice, 2 of them, that gave me faith to believe in. And just like the angels, when I said when you're moving through a portal, like a wormhole, or like in Star Trek when you go on warp speed, how light is fluid, how a speck of light that just stands there all damn day in the sky, and it doesn't look like it's moving, but somehow it just goes across the skies eventually as time goes, because we're spinning or they're spinning, something is spinning. Okay, so pretty much when they actually get orders and they're gonna move, like I said, there's gonna be no darkness whatsoever, period. There will be none. It would be magnesium light, super. Okay, there would be, like, seriously, you won't even have shadow in your closed eyes. It would be like that. Okay, period. None. So, and there would be none on the inside. There would be no darkness on the. Yeah, it's like that. There will be there will be no darkness on the inside of you. You will go. That's how you don't die, through the motion. Like, you're like, how can you go from here to there? The force would kill you. The forces. No, you move through forces with light when you are pure, when your heart is pure. So that's how I made it back without dying, to tell you this, because that could have been my deathbed, definitely, or indefinitely. But so pretty much, it's faith, man. Like, what got me from there to here has been played out many different times in my life and beyond my life. And I can say beyond my life because I've experienced things that are beyond my life, my physical life, that you would calculate, measure, because you can't measure anything but that. You can't measure anything but what I've done physically. But I can measure that against the physical and non-physical. Okay? And I don't take any pride in it, because there's nothing to have pride in. There's what? You look dumb with pride. You look stupid with pride. I try to tell you guys. Before the forces that you fear, trust me, bro, you have no understanding. Like I told you about that shadow on the ground, you're not translating the light. You look dumb. We look dumb wearing pride. Okay? we look hella dumb. Hella dumb. We look abominable wearing pride, bro, because we don't know. We are so blasphemous. In like I said, so the faith that I was given by these 2 angels, these 2 messengers, a past and a future. The way that we spoke, it was like being abducted. When people have those abduction theories where they say, oh, time passed, but it was like no time passed. Like, what are you talking about? They were like, bro, you disappeared. Well, how did you just pop back up? You've been gone for hours. Like, what? I literally just walked across the street or something like that. And, you know, literally, like, people go through like a portal or something, right? So in that moment, I was in like a portal to where, because my feet were not on the ground. I was in the air long enough, but and my frequency was high enough, and my density was fluid enough. I had everything, sir. Everything was the right conditions to become a receiver of faith. It was no stagnation, so it was just fluid. It was fluid. It was fluid, bro. It was like a mirror reflection translates how you look. I was translating the past and the future in my moment of trial and tribulation. In a single breath, I was having I'm telling you, in a fraction of a breath, damn near, I was having like conversation with, listening and arguing, because it was past and future. They were giving me faith because I was battling at that moment something that was distracting me and trying to guarantee that I would die. And that thing was sending all type of visuals, vivid visuals. Okay? The Leviathan was sending very much vivid visuals of me dying. Death was with Hades at that moment. And they were interrupted, and I could not be plucked out of the hands of the future, the first and the last. He took me. He said, no, have faith. So therefore, I lived. I saw two of him. I heard two of him. Like I said, a future him and a past him. The past him was young, and the future him, and they still exist. That's the point. They are one. That's what it is. Like, they are living. It's like a slingshot, okay? So I'm like the rock in the slingshot, and they are one piece. Yah. They are Yah. Yah. That's how Yah can be a trinity, bro. Like, you guys don't understand that. But I'm telling you. Because the faith is living. The word is living. And that word, that they both had an agreement. Their word did not sway. Their word agreed. Their word, two could not go down the same road unless they be in accord. We were in the air going down the road of life. I'm trying to tell you, Leviathan, we were going. And they swooped me up and carried me to safety with my hands. They used my wit to outsmart it. Let's say that. They used me as a weapon to shame the devil, the dragon, in his own pride. Let's say that. We do battle, fam. We do battle. It's 222. Catch 22. Now it's 223. You know who that be? That's Zeus. That's Zeus. And that's crazy, because at 22 years old was when I first had the translation of the portal being taken by the celestial bodies outside of this life back to this life. And I was 22. At 16 was when the two angels, who are one, the first and the last, spoke to me and carried me, imported me out of the clutches of death, away from the clutches of death, into a everlasting life. Because I literally brought everlasting life, because the miracles were there. I was healing and everything the next day. Like it was a lot of signs were showing immediately after that I had an intervention. My friends even understood that. They were like, damn, you need to go get hit by cars before football season and track season, because all of a sudden you're a whole 0.02 of a second faster. 0.2 of a second faster, actually. And that's way more important. You can't just take 2 weeks off and then come back 0.2 of a second faster. Yeah, that's how it happened. I took 2 weeks off, no walking for one of them, no walking for 3 days. 3 days I didn't walk. I went from training hard 2 days to no walking for 3 days, flat. Couldn't move. Couldn't even, bruh. I needed a bedpan. I just passed out the first day as soon as I realized I couldn't do it because of the pain was so excruciating. Oh yeah, they delivered me from pain in the moment, but the next day that pain caught up. Very concentrated. Translated so well it knocked me right back out of life, right out of consciousness. I screamed, and then I just whimpered into sleep, back into sleep. It was like, okay, I'm out of here. Go back. Nah, don't come this way. Life is not ready for you yet. You're not done. Put it back in. It was like being born again. Something I took pride in was my legs. And I was able to move them, but it was excruciating. It was very bad. Very, 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 very bad. Breathing hurt. Let's just say that. Just breathing. Breathing. Like a thermometer, boy. It went from 0 to 100 on the first cognitive breath. Somehow sleeping, no feeling. As soon as you're cognitive, just gone. Just like you can't even take a full breath. Just gone. You know what I mean? Like that's how it was, bro. Excruciating. Crisis. Real crisis. And the faith though, it was a confirmation, because you wake up and you wonder if it was a dream when a miracle happens and you fall asleep and you wake up the next day. If you don't have a reminder as the first breath that something yesterday happened that you need to remember why this happened, then it's going to be hard to remember. It's going to be hard to even believe that it happened. If you don't have proof, somebody said witnesses and stuff like that, I don't even have the witnesses with me. Like they live, I'm pretty sure. That's how magnificent the Most High is. It makes 4 of us, 4 corners. We witnessed it. We witnessed the beginning and the end work through me. All 4 of us. And we parted our ways. 3 men and a woman. 2 black, me and the other guy, the guy that I accidented with. And well, it wasn't really a dent, but it left a dent on me. The car was good. But the man and the woman were blonde, maybe. Totally opposites. Like I said, it was all there. They crossed the street and everything, like going through the port. Like I said, it was like a time. They even said it, bro. Time slowed down, like everything. They described it, and I listened, and I witnessed that they told me, bro. I didn't even have to tell them shit. The first thing they did was say, sit down, lay down, sue them, and everything. It was crazy. They were giving me orders, barking them out, and I'm like, no. It's not gonna go to what you're talking about. The first thing that I did was shut that up. The devil tried to go through them. If it didn't move through me, and try to take the other guy's life away again. And I said no. I would not let it happen. Somehow the devil was after that guy. I think he was trying to move through me to do it. Take out 2 birds with 1 stone, but the Most High, he saved 4 people and probably even more, because the stakes were very high. A lot of it was riding on me, and I wasn't even on the ground, bro. I was 0 gravity. I'm trying to tell you guys, this shit really exists. The day happens. It does exist. The shit is the day, okay? The day is the shit. That it will happen. When it says shit happens, yes, the day will come. That's what it means. And I'm gonna end this video on that, bro. That's how things happen. You are not a believer until you witness it, bro. Like you can have faith and believe, but that faith is gonna manifest, and then when it happens, you're gonna be in disbelief that it happened, unless no pain, no gain, right? You have some pain, you have some type of trauma that programs neurolinguistically, NLP, that you really had this shit happen, or you really witnessed it, or the Most High really witnessed it. Like, he tests everybody. Some people are just so young, you know, they're taught not to ask for much and stuff. So he gives them, like, you don't complain, he's gonna give you more. Shit. He's gonna let you know. Shit. Yo, that just happened. Like, don't forget, by the way. Damn, boy. It's like, damn. That's how Yeshaya was. He was like, look, man, you've been with me. You've been with me for 3 years, and you still have little faith. You still are only. You can only eat baby food. You're not ready for whole food. You're still chewing on breast milk, sucking breast milk. And the thing is, that's translated and concentrated with people that were with him, witnessed him, next to him, lived with him, breathed with him, ate with him, spoke with him, felt him. Bro, how much more is it that you have not seen or witnessed it in those around you, that they study their whole damn lives and are not even ready to come out of the oven to accept breast milk yet. They're still on the umbilical. They're NPC. Bro. And you shouldn't attack them. I feel that they're a tree of life. You should not eat off of them. Should not take advantage of them. You are blessed. They are in your charge. Like I said, I would not let it pass through me to them. I was the youngest one, and all 3 of those adults had questions that could not be answered by any of them in all of their degrees and everything they had ever been taught. They looked right at me, and bro, I feel bad for anybody that the government gets a hold of, because these people acted like that too. Like, there was a struggle going on all types of levels. Me being taken away and observed, like, a lot of shit was gonna happen. But the Most High he really walked me through. He took me from death and beyond. A lot of stuff could have went sideways, fam. I'm telling you. He did everything to make sure that I remember. That's why I always, it's like I know, bro. Like I know if I'm awake or if I'm asleep. I know because I know the difference. I know the taste. I know. I can tell. I can tell about what I feel and what I know. I can do things in both worlds, but it just takes longer for them to manifest in this world. When they manifest, there is no mistaking. It is mine after that. It has been given unto me. And you don't just pop up new booty with talent talking about you're gonna do something like in a movie, how they'll just have like Spider-Man train for like 2 weeks after getting his power. Now he's saving the world, going off, doing all this responsible shit. No, it don't work like that. No. You're gonna be crafted like fine wine, grapes of wrath, okay? You're gonna have years. That's why I said you guys are like a vine, those that have been studying, but there's an innocence to you because you're blind. You know? There is an innocence. He said, blessed are those that believe without seeing. You see what I mean though? So that's you. You are like a tree of life. Do you feel me? And we should not eat off of you. We should not take advantage of you like that. We should take care of you and guide you into fruition. That's what we are sent to do. We are messengers to you, your brothers, maybe younger than you, just like Joseph, sold into slavery. He uses the youngest to shame the wisest, the oldest. The last will be first. The first will be last. The student becomes the master. They called me at exit level. They called me at exit level. Exit level. It was a 4-way exit level exam. Okay? And passed with flying colors. Flying sacrifices. Okay? Because when you land back on the ground from zero gravity, you guaranteed you're giving up some shit. You're not coming back down the same way. It's just the way it is. You're not gonna come back down the same way you went up. You're gonna come back down translated. You're gonna come back down transfigurated. Enlightened. Higher conscience. And that was the first thing that I was questioned, was, other than are you okay, was are you some type of guru? Because that should not have happened. Everybody knows. I was 16 years old. If you take 84 to 16, year 2000, shit happened. Shit happens. My day happened. Beginning and end. Now, I was looking outside for the end of the world. But now that I'm looking back, it seems like that was it. This world is not worth it. After that point, because I already knew I would see the end. At that point, before I landed on the ground, I with all my heart knew I would live to see the end. It's a bold statement for a 16-year-old to say to himself. But the two angels, there was an unspoken guarantee. the third angel that was always with me guaranteed me that. And then there was a fourth angel who said, as long as I'm in the flesh, he guaranteed that he will be a shadow just above me, about a foot away. He said, he's the one that invented the keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So yeah, now I'm starting to understand some other things outside of this life. When they say a prophet is not accepted in his own home, you know how like the disciples were called idol by the names of idol gods. It's pretty much satanic. Okay? And of the highest order. Not some low shit, like king of the shit. King of shit, Yeah. That type of shit. That type of day. It's all wrapped up in one. It was an hour, less than an hour. The event happened in split seconds, but it seemed like just time, bro. Just so much information flew by. Every word is an angel, okay? So when I said the word is a portal, when I said the angels, when they move so fast, when they're given orders by the word, that they move so fast that they are a portal. They will carry you so fast. It will be instant. You will see them move and you will have been moved. You didn't see yourself move. You see them move. And then the next thing you know, it's too late. You're done. You're sizzled. It's like you're like a snowball in hell, like a snowflake in hell, like a vapor in hell. You become disintegrated. You become saturated. You become dissolved, and then you become super saturated. You pop out on the other side. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. They grab you by the core and you dissolve from you're sent. You're sent, and you just pop up back or somewhere. You pop up. It's just like popcorn, just pop up inside of a solution, undissolved. The solution can't dissolve. You pop up in a place where you cannot be dissolved. Let's just say that. Energy is not created nor destroyed. It is only translated or recreated. Transferred or recreated. The transference is the absorption or the dissolution. The recreation is the supersaturation where it cannot be dissolved, and then it exists as a centralized grace, the center of grace, in its purest form, in its most gracious form. Now that we're full circle, I'm gonna call this a video. The 244. Nope, we're going to 45. And on that note, to the Rabbi Hayasar Haya Kadosh Kadash Kadesh, to the Rabbi Yeshaya Kadesh Kadash Kadosh, to the Rabbi Aheb Ruach Kakma Asaya Kadosh Kadash Kadesh, Ashar Yesharun, Ashar Yo Yada, Hayasar Haya Kadosh Kadash Kadesh. Remember, guys, Yeshaya, when you call on his name, you call on Yah, Hayasar Haya. You call on Ruach Kakma Kadesh Kadash Kadosh. Aheb Ruach Kakma Kadesh Kadash Kadosh. The love of the spirit of understanding, the holy, holy, holy. Okay. On that note, Anami Amen.